Hey guys, this video is going to be an introduction to figured bass. Hopefully it's not an introduction. We went over this, but probably I think we went over it like really quickly, okay? Some of you are going to think figured bass is way easier than Roman numerals because you don't have to worry about Roman numerals and the bass is already there for you. Whoops. Some of you are going to be like, it's the same. But hopefully some of you think it's easier. Yeah. So figured bass has just a few rules that are different from Roman numerals. So figured bass, as you notice, there's no Roman numerals. It's just, some of them there's nothing, okay? It's just numbers, okay? I didn't put any symbols. Actually, let's add a symbol just to do it, okay? So here are the symbols that you can see. So if you see a slash, a plus, or a sharp, that means you raise the note by a half step, and it's going to be by a number, okay? So if it's 6, that means you raise scale degree. You raise the sixth of the invert. We'll go over it, okay? Sorry, that's confusing. And then if you see a flat, obviously that means lower it. And then if you see a natural, obviously that means natural the note, okay? If you see a symbol alone, like my flat I just drew, it always applies to the third, okay? So that means I'm going to flat the third of my note, okay? Let's go ahead and do this just to make it, just to help you understand that confusing part a little bit more, okay? So if you see no number symbols, you assume 5-3. We'll go over that in a minute, okay? So nothing here. There was nothing here. Nothing here. There's nothing here. So I assume 5-3, and then I assume the flat applies to the third, right? Okay? So common symbols in figured bass are, look, 6 and 6-4. And then 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 4, 2. Those are our normal inversions that we use for Roman numerals, right? Okay. So the triad numbers that you could see are 6 and 6, 4. Okay, I have a 6, 4 here. No sixes. Nice. And then the ones that you'll see for sevenths chords are a 7. And that means well, I guess I'll start with this one. Okay. So if you see nothing and I'm telling you to assume 5-3. Okay. So that means this is the bass note, okay? And then I assume a third and a fifth above that, which is a normal triad, right? Okay? So if this is F, I'm going to assume 5 and 3, okay? I would just write it in. Just for the sake of my brain, okay? Because there's a lot of stuff you have to memorize, okay? So it's just going to be F, A, and C. Right? The third and the fifth. Okay? So, that's easy peasy. Let's go ahead and draw it in. Okay? So, for this, you write soprano, alto, tenor, just like normal. Okay? So, let's just put our tenors on an A. Oh, let's go ahead and write the chord. Like I like you guys to write the chord. Okay? So, this would be an F, an A, and a C. Okay? So I have F, I have an A, let's give the altos an F, and then let's give the sopranos a C. Okay? So 5, if you have nothing, I have nothing over here, we'll get to it in a minute. I assume 5-3, and that's just a normal root position chord. Okay? If you see 6, that means the note is, that the chord is in first inversion, and so your bass note is the third of the chord. Okay? You've got to get inversions down to understand figured bass, okay? So if you see 6-4, like right here, let's keep it. Okay, so if you see 6-4 right here, that means it's in second inversion, okay? So your bass note is the fifth of the chord, right? Okay, so it's like we're going backwards, kind of, okay? And then if you see 7, that just means it's a root position 7th chord. Okay, so here's C is my bass, so that means it's just going to be C, E, G, B flat. Okay, root position 7th chord. Okay. If you see 6-5, that means it's a first inversion 7th chord. Okay. First inversion 7th chord. So that means this is the 3rd, right? My bass note is the 3rd. And then 4-3, second inversion, that means the 5th is my bass note. Okay, my bass note is the 5th of the 7th chord. And then 4-2, that means the 7th of the chord is my bass note. Let me say that again, hopefully in a less confusing way. If you have no number symbol, you assume 5-3, and you assume just a normal triad with this as the bass note. Okay, I assume F-A-C. Okay? If you see 6, that means that you're in first inversion and your bass note is the 3rd of the chord. If you see 6-4, that means you're in second inversion and your bass note is the 5th of the chord. See what I mean? You really gotta have a handle on inversions, okay? If you see 7, that means it's a root position 7th chord. Okay, you just build that 7th chord with that root note, okay? If you see 6-5, it's a first inversion 7th chord, and that means your bass note is the 3rd of your chord. If you see 4-3, that's a second inversion 7th chord, and that means your root is the 5th of the chord. And then if you see 4-2, that means it's a third inversion 7th chord, and your bass note is the 7th of the chord. Confused? Alright, let me show you what I mean. Okay, so we already did this one. There was nothing here, so I assume 5-3. I write it in just to help my brain a little bit. Write out my notes. It's going to be F-A-C, a root position chord with F as the root. Draw out my notes. Okay? Alright, 7, that means it's a root position 7 chord. That means it's in root position. C is the bass note. It's the root of the chord. So it's going to be C, E, G, B flat. Okay? Let's make our tenors. Let's make our sopranos go to B flat. Let's make our altos. Wait, let's see. Alright, let's do tenors go to G. Altos go to E. Let's see. So that would be parallel 6th, so that's okay. Guys, you still have to watch out for parallel 5ths and parallel octaves, okay? Parallel 6th, that's okay. A to F to G to E. Parallel 6th, we're good to go. Alright. 6-4. That means it's a second inversion chord, triad. And guys, this is why I say it's easier. It's because the bass note is already in there for you. Okay? The bass note helps you figure out what the chord is. That means my bass note, if it's 6-4, my bass note is the 5th. I'm going to write this in a different color. My bass note is already the 5th of the triad. Okay? So that means E is the 5th of the triad. So I have to use that. I have to work my way backwards. So E, I'm in 6-4. E is the bass note. E is the 5th of the triad, right? In second inversion. So that means my triad would be E, C, A. Okay? So my triad is A, C, E. E is my bass note, okay? And I need to try to do 2 A's if I can because that's still the root of the chord. Even though it's not the bass note, I still need to try to do 2 roots, okay? Alright, so we've got an E. Let's not keep anybody. Let's see if we can move them to an A. Let's move the altos to a C. So I've got E, A, C, and then let's move the sopranos to an A. Nothing parallel. Wait. No. Oh, no, nothing parallel. Good. We're going fifths to fourths. Okay. I didn't do my sharp. Let's just ignore the sharp for right now. Let's ignore that. Okay. That's enough confusion. Okay. If I were to have a sharp, that would mean I just raised the sixth, okay? So the sixth above the bass note, okay? The sixth above the bass note. So what would the sixth be? E, F, G, A, B flat, C. C. That would just mean I just put that. Okay? It's not too confusing. Okay, nothing here, so I'm going to assume 5-3 and nothing beside my flat. So if you see nothing, no number, then your symbol applies to the third. Okay, so that means F. This is in root position, so my chord is going to be F, a flat third, so A flat, and then C. Interesting, an F minor. Okay, so let's do F, A flat for those tenors. Give them something interesting. C natural, right? Just because I had C sharp right before. And then let's move I want to try to double the root. So let's try to move those sopranos down to an F, okay? Stick with me, guys. We got some seventh inversions. All right. So 4-2 tells me it's inverted, okay? So it's going to be a third inversion for a seventh chord. So that means my seventh chord is in the bass. So this, my seventh of the chord. So this note right here is already in 4-2. So that means this is the seventh of the seventh chord. Sorry, that's a lot of seventh. Okay, so that means this is the seventh of the seventh chord. So that means I like to build the chord. Sorry, I didn't write it in red. I like to build the chord at that point. Okay, so this is the seventh. The fifth would be here. The third would be here. And then the root would be E. Okay, so my chord is E, G, B flat, D. Sorry, just got a little confused. Okay, and it's in 4-2, so that means D is in the bass. And then I want to try to have each of these notes, okay? Okay, so D is in the bass. Let's do... Let's do tenors. I don't know. Tenors G. Altos B flat. Sopranos E. All right, let's see. That would be parallel fourths. That's okay. A to C, that's a third. G to B flat, that's a third. And then tenors to sopranos, that's a sixth to a sixth. That's fine. That's fine, okay? All right, let's do another inversion. Let's see if you're catching on. So with this inversion, it's already in the correct position, okay? That means my bass note is already what it should be. It is what's your bass note when in your first inversion? Your bass note is your third of the chord, okay? So that means this is already the third of the seventh chord, okay? I'm already where I should be, okay? So if that's the third of my seventh chord, I just build my chord around it, okay? So that's the third, so my root would be right here, third, fifth, seventh, okay? So that means it's a G, B flat, D, F chord, okay? Kind of catching on? I hope you're kind of catching on. So, let's see. We've already got our seventh in the bass, so I've already... Nope, our third in the bass, sorry. 6, 5. Third is in the bass. So let's make our tenors stay on the G, I guess. Might as well, right? G. Let's see. If our. No, we already have a B flat. So you have our altos go there. Okay, so what do I need? I got G, B flat. I need a D. I need a F. Let's have the altos go up to D and the sopranos go up to F. Let's see. Anything parallel? Nope. Perfect. An easy one, a 7th chord. All right, it's just a root position 7th chord built on this note. Okay, so what would that be? That would be C, E, G, B flat. Work smarter, not harder. I got one right here. Let's build it. Tenors on a G, altos on a E, sopranos on a B flat. Let's make sure there's nothing parallel. All right, whoops. I got a B flat and a D going to a C and an E. That's fine. Parallel thirds. G to a G. That's fine. Beautiful. And then nothing. That means it's a root position. So it's just FAC. Okay? So work harder, not smarter. A, F, and C. And let's make sure. Oh no. Oh my gosh. Guys, parallel fifths right there. Parallel fifths right there. Let's just change the tenors to the C. And then the sopranos to an A. Let's see if that works. Yeah, nothing parallel. So that means let's change the sopranos to an A and then the tenors to a C. Yes? Okay. That was an easy parallel fix. So, guys, you have to always check those. Like I said, it's open book. You could have all these rules written out next to you on notebook paper and use it while you do your figured bass on the AP test. So if they're letting you do this open book, they're going to be parallel fifths, parallel octaves. They're not going to have any patience for you. Okay, they're going to judge you pretty harshly. Okay. So let me just write this really fast. I think this might help you. So you just have to remember that the 6 means that the third of the chord. Third of the chord is the bass note. Okay? I know you probably can't see that, but that's what that means. If you see 6, that means the third of the chord is already the bass note, okay? If you see 6/4, that means the fifth of the note is already the bass note. The fifth of the chord is already the bass note. If you see 7, it's just root position. If you see 6/5, that means the third of the chord is already the bass note. If you see 4/3, that means the fifth of the chord is already the bass note. If you see 4/2, that means the seventh of the chord is already the bass note. Okay? So you can have all of that literally written out on notebook paper beside you while you take the AP test. So that means you just have to draw the chord out and then write out your parts. Okay? I think you'll be fine, guys. I'm going to put this into hopefully some neat notes and upload this to Canvas alongside this video. Okay?